The Eternal Flower Princess. In the heart of the magical kingdom of Floria, flowers lived as vibrant beings, each with a soul and a purpose. Over them all ruled Princess Aurora, the guardian of harmony, with her radiant silver hair and emerald green eyes that glimmered with life. The blooming festival filled the kingdom with joy, as flowers from every corner gathered to celebrate renewal. Laughter and song echoed through the air. Yet Aurora couldn't shake a growing unease. High above, she stood on the palace balcony, her gaze fixed on the celebration below. Iris. Aurora turned to her advisor. A shimmering flower of wisdom. Do you feel it? A stillness, as if something dark is approaching? Iris hesitated, then spoke gently. The Black Moonflower. Your Highness. The elders believe it may bloom soon. The name sent a chill through Aurora. The Black Moonflower, a symbol of doom, marked the rise of shadows in the ancient prophecies. Despite Iris's reassurance of the kingdom's strength, the weight of destiny settled heavily on Aurora's shoulders. As the sun set, casting the land in twilight, a lone bud in the distant mountains began to open. Its dark petals shimmered ominously under the fading light. The Black Moonflower had awakened. The news of the Black Moonflower's awakening spread quickly through Floria, casting a shadow over the once joyful kingdom. The elders gathered in the Crystal Blossom Palace, their voices hushed and somber as they recited the ancient prophecy. When the Black Moonflower blooms, shadows will rise, and only the chosen guardian can restore balance to the land. Aurora listened intently, her heart heavy. She had always known the prophecy, but now it felt real, and the weight of her role pressed down on her. What must I do? She asked, her voice steady despite the fear flickering within. The eldest flower, Elder Magnolia, stepped forward. Her petals were faded but carried the wisdom of centuries. Your Highness, you must seek the flower spirit. Only she can guide you to the power needed to combat the darkness. Aurora nodded resolutely, though doubts lingered. Could she truly protect her people? As she prepared to leave, Iris approached her. You won't face this alone, Princess. I'll accompany you. With Iris by her side, Aurora set out, leaving behind her blooming kingdom now shrouded in an uneasy silence. Far away, the Black Moonflower continued to open, its dark aura spreading like a creeping shadow. Aurora and Iris journeyed through the once vibrant meadows of Floria, now wilting under an unnatural gloom. The shadow's reach was spreading faster than anyone had anticipated. Villages of flower spirits were abandoned, their petals scattered like remnants of a lost battle. This darkness, Iris murmured, her voice trembling. It's stronger than we feared. As they pressed on, the air grew colder. Ahead, the boundary of the wastelands loomed, a barren expanse of ash and thorn, untouched by life for centuries. There, in the shadows, a figure emerged. It was Lucian, the cursed being whispered about in ancient tales. His piercing eyes gleamed with malice, and a dark aura surrounded him. So, the little princess ventures beyond her garden. Lucian sneered. Do you think your light can withstand the abyss? Aurora stood firm, though her heart raced. Floria will not fall to your darkness, Lucian. He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Your kingdom is already mine. The Black Moonflower has begun its bloom. And with it, I shall consume all life. Before Aurora could respond, Lucian unleashed a wave of shadow. Iris pulled her back. And together, they fled. The shadows pursued them, relentless and cold. Only by crossing into the sanctuary of the Whispering Forest did the pursuit cease. As they caught their breath, Aurora clenched her fists. We must find the flower spirit quickly. Lucian won't stop until everything is consumed. In the distance, the faint hum of the forest's ancient magic guided them forward. A fragile beacon of hope in the growing darkness. Aurora and Iris ventured deep into the Whispering Forest, where ancient trees stood tall, their branches entwined like protective arms. The air was filled with soft murmurs, whispers of forgotten wisdom carried by the wind. Each step felt heavier, as though the forest itself was testing their resolve. This is where the flower spirit resides, Iris whispered. Few have seen her, but she holds the answers we seek. They approached a clearing bathed in soft, golden light. In the center stood a magnificent figure, a being with petals shimmering like the dawn and a presence that radiated both strength and serenity. It was the flower spirit, the guardian of life in Floria. You have come. Princess Aurora, the spirit spoke, her voice gentle yet commanding. The shadows rise, and your path will be fraught with trials. Aurora knelt, her head bowed. Please, guide me. How can I protect my kingdom? The flower spirit extended a hand, and a radiant gem appeared in her palm, glowing with warm light. This is the radiant gem. It holds the power to seal the darkness. But it can only be wielded by one who understands the true essence of harmony, sacrifice, courage, and love. Aurora reached for the gem, but the spirit withdrew it. The journey ahead will test your heart, Aurora. Only when you fully embrace your destiny will the gem's power awaken. Before Aurora could ask more, the spirit faded, leaving behind a faint glow. In its place, a path opened deeper into the forest, its end hidden in shadow. We have the gem, Iris said softly. But it's only the beginning. Aurora nodded, determination replacing her doubt. Then we'll face whatever comes next. For Floria, the two pressed forward, the gem's faint light their only guide in the encroaching darkness. With the radiant gem glowing faintly in Aurora's hands, she and Iris ventured deeper into the forest. The air was heavy with silence, as if the entire world was holding its breath. The gem's light, though dim, provided a fragile sense of hope against the encroaching shadows. Why hasn't the gem's power awakened? Aurora asked, her voice filled with frustration. The flower spirit said it could seal the darkness, but it feels lifeless. It isn't lifeless, Iris replied gently. It's waiting, for you. Aurora frowned. Waiting for what? Before Iris could answer, the ground beneath them trembled. From the shadows emerged dark figures, twisted and thorn-covered, their glowing red eyes fixed on the gem. These were the shadow minions, servants of Lucian. They moved with chilling precision, encircling the two travelers. Give us the gem, one of them hissed, its voice like rustling leaves. Aurora tightened her grip. Never. The minions lunged. Aurora and Iris fought back. Aurora wielding a blade of light conjured by her will. Despite her bravery, the minions were overwhelming. Just as one of them reached for the gem, a burst of light erupted from it, forcing the shadows to retreat momentarily. That light, Aurora gasped, staring at the gem. Iris placed a hand on her shoulder. The gem responds to your courage, Aurora. It feeds on your willingness to protect others. Realizing this, Aurora steadied herself. Then I'll give it everything I have. She stepped forward, her heart full of resolve. The gem glowed brighter, its light driving the minions back into the forest's depths. When the battle ended, the clearing was silent again. But Aurora felt a shift within her. The gem isn't just a weapon, Iris said. It's a reflection of your heart. Only through sacrifice, courage, and love will it reach its full potential. Aurora nodded, the weight of her responsibility clearer than ever. Then I'll prove myself. For Floria. With the gem's light guiding them, they pressed onward, determined to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. Aurora and Iris returned to the outskirts of Floria, only to find the kingdom in chaos. The once vibrant fields were shrouded in shadow, and the flower spirits fled in fear. In the distance, dark smoke rose from a small village, signaling Lucian's first strike. We're too late, Aurora whispered, her voice trembling. No, Iris said firmly. We still have time to fight back. They hurried toward the village, where shadowy minions swarmed the streets, capturing flower spirits and destroying their homes. At the center of the chaos stood Lucian, his dark aura pulsing with power as he watched his minions wreak havoc. So, the princess returns, Lucian sneered as Aurora and Iris arrived. Ready to surrender? Aurora stepped forward, gripping the radiant gem. I will never surrender to you. Lucian chuckled. Bold words for someone who doesn't yet understand the power she wields. At his command, the shadowy minions attacked. Aurora fought bravely, wielding the gem's light to drive them back. But her power was still incomplete. The gem flickered, its light dimming as her doubts crept in. Despite her best efforts, the shadows began to overwhelm her. Lucian watched with amusement. You cannot win, Aurora. The darkness within you will always betray you. Don't listen to him, Iris shouted, defending Aurora from an approaching minion. The gem responds to your courage. Trust yourself. Summoning her remaining strength, Aurora focused on her purpose, to protect Floria and its people. The gem's light brightened once more, driving back the shadows. But before she could strike a decisive blow, Lucian unleashed a wave of dark energy, forcing Aurora and Iris to retreat. As they escaped the village, Aurora's heart sank. She had saved some of the spirits, but the village was lost, and Lucian's power seemed unstoppable. I wasn't strong enough, she said, her voice heavy with guilt. You fought bravely, Iris reassured her. This was only the beginning. We'll find a way to strengthen the gem and defeat Lucian. Aurora nodded, though doubt lingered in her heart. She had faced her first battle and tasted defeat, but she knew she couldn't give up. The fight for Floria was far from over. Defeated but not broken, Aurora and Iris ventured into the night forest, a place of ancient magic and whispered legends. The forest was a labyrinth of towering trees and shifting shadows, where light barely reached the ground. Each step felt like walking into the unknown, the air thick with an eerie stillness. This forest has been untouched for centuries, Iris said softly. It's said to hold secrets older than Floria itself. Aurora clutched the radiant gem, its faint glow their only guide. If we are to find a way to strengthen the gem, the answers must lie here. As they moved deeper, strange noises surrounded them, rustling leaves, faint whispers, and distant echoes. The forest seemed alive, watching their every move. Suddenly, the path ahead shifted, trees bending unnaturally to block their way. We're not welcome here, Iris murmured, glancing nervously around. Aurora stepped forward, her voice firm. We mean no harm. We seek only the knowledge to save our kingdom. The whispers grew louder, and a figure emerged from the shadows. It was an old, gnarled tree spirit, its bark twisted and eyes glowing faintly. Why do you disturb the sacred forest, child of Floria? It asked, its voice like creaking wood. Aurora bowed respectfully. The darkness is spreading, and I cannot defeat it alone. I need the forest's wisdom to awaken the power of the radiant gem. The tree spirit studied her for a moment before speaking. The gem draws strength from sacrifice, courage, and love. But to wield its full power, you must face your greatest fears. Before Aurora could respond, the ground beneath her feet began to shift. She and Iris were separated as the forest created a new path, guiding Aurora toward an unknown destination. Alone, she found herself in a clearing filled with swirling mist. In the mist, shapes began to form, visions of her kingdom in ruins, her people lost to the shadows, and Lucian's laughter echoing through the chaos. Her heart raced as doubt consumed her. What if I'm not strong enough? She whispered. A soft light emerged from the gem, cutting through the mist. Its warmth reminded her of her purpose, to protect Floria, no matter the cost. Taking a deep breath, Aurora steadied herself. I will not let fear control me. The mist dissolved, and the path forward opened. Iris reappeared, relief in her eyes. You made it. The forest is testing me, Aurora said, her voice stronger now. But I won't fail. We must keep going. With renewed determination, they pressed on, the gem's light growing brighter as Aurora's resolve deepened. As Aurora and Iris continued their journey through the night forest, the atmosphere grew heavier. The path twisted unpredictably, forcing them deeper into the heart of the forest, where the air was thick with unspoken truths. Aurora sensed something waiting for her, something more than just shadows. We're close, Iris said, her voice tinged with both hope and apprehension. But be prepared. This place brings out what we try hardest to forget. They entered a clearing surrounded by trees whose bark shimmered like glass. Reflections danced across their surfaces, showing images of the past. As Aurora stepped forward, the reflections shifted, revealing a scene she recognized all too well. It was her mother, Queen Lily, standing tall and regal, her silver hair cascading like a river of moonlight. Aurora's heart ached as she watched the memory unfold, her mother fighting valiantly against a swarm of shadows to protect the kingdom. Despite her strength, the darkness overwhelmed her, and she fell. "Mother," Aurora whispered, tears welling in her eyes. She reached out instinctively, but her hand passed through the image. The pain of that day flooded back. A wound she had tried to bury. "The shadows took her from us," Iris said softly. "But her sacrifice saved Floria. She believed in you, Aurora. She believed you would grow into the leader our kingdom needs." Aurora clenched her fists, torn between grief and anger. "I couldn't save her. I wasn't strong enough." The reflections shifted again, this time showing Lucian before he turned to darkness. He stood beside Queen Lily, loyal and proud. Aurora's eyes widened. "Lucian, he was one of us." "Yes," Iris admitted, her voice heavy with sorrow. "He was your mother's most trusted guardian. But when his family was lost to the shadows, he let his grief consume him. He blamed the kingdom, and that anger twisted him." Aurora's breath hitched. "He wasn't always a monster." The realization struck her deeply. Lucian, like herself, had known pain and loss. But where she chose to fight for others, he had allowed darkness to claim him. "If I had been in his place," she wondered aloud, "would I have fallen too?" "You're stronger than you think," Iris said firmly. "And that strength will guide you where Lucian faltered." Aurora turned back to the reflections, determination igniting within her. "I won't let his story become mine. I'll honor my mother's sacrifice and protect Floria, no matter what." The clearing shimmered as if acknowledging her resolve. The path forward revealed itself, glowing faintly with light. Aurora stepped forward, leaving her grief behind but carrying its lessons in her heart. Emerging from the shadows of the night forest, Aurora and Iris found themselves in an open meadow unlike any they had seen before. The air was fresh, the sky a vibrant blue, and the ground was blanketed in golden flowers radiating warmth. At the center stood a single, majestic bloom, the sunbeam flower, known in Floria's legends as a source of immense light and hope. "This is it," Iris whispered, awe in her voice. "The sunbeam flower. Its power can strengthen the radiant gem." Aurora approached the flower, its petals glowing softly. As she reached out, a voice echoed around them, soft but commanding. "To touch the sunbeam is to bear its burden. Do you have the courage, Princess Aurora?" The question caught her off guard. "I'm here to save my kingdom," Aurora replied, her voice steady. "If bearing this burden means protecting my people, then I'll accept it." The light from the sunbeam flower intensified, wrapping around her like a cocoon. Images filled her mind, visions of Floria thriving, its people safe and joyful, but also of herself standing alone, her strength tested again and again. She felt the weight of her responsibility more deeply than ever. "You will endure trials greater than these," the voice continued. "You will face betrayal, loss, and choices that demand sacrifice. Do you still accept?" Aurora hesitated only for a moment. "Yes. My kingdom is worth any sacrifice." The light pulsed, and the sunbeam flower's energy flowed into the radiant gem, causing it to glow brighter than ever before. Aurora felt its warmth, a renewed sense of hope blooming within her. She turned to Iris, determination in her eyes. "We're stronger now," she said. "This is the power we need to face Lucian." Before they could leave, the ground trembled. From the edge of the meadow, shadowy figures began to emerge, Lucian's minions. Drawn to the light, their twisted forms moved with deadly intent, their growls echoing through the meadow. "We're not done yet," Iris said, readying herself. Aurora gripped the gem, its light illuminating the field. "No, we're not. Let's show them the strength of Floria." As the shadows closed in, the gem's light flared, and Aurora stepped forward, wielding the power of the sunbeam flower for the first time. The battle ahead would be fierce, but for the first time, Aurora felt hope shining brighter than fear. Aurora and Iris emerged victorious from the meadow, but the encounter with Lucian's minions had left them both weary. The power of the radiant gem, now strengthened by the sunbeam flower, burned brightly in Aurora's hands. But she knew it wouldn't be enough without a final confrontation with Lucian himself. "We're close," Iris said, looking ahead toward the dark horizon. "His stronghold lies just beyond the wastelands." The wasteland stretched before them, a barren, desolate landscape covered in ash and jagged rocks. Shadows moved unnaturally in the distance, and a chilling wind howled around them. Aurora's heart was steady, but the weight of the journey pressed heavily on her shoulders. As they crossed the wastelands, Lucian's dark fortress loomed closer, its towering spires piercing the stormy sky. The air grew colder with each step, and the light of the gem flickered as if sensing the overwhelming darkness ahead. "I can feel him," Aurora whispered. "He's waiting for us." They approached the gates of the fortress, and before they could plan their next move, Lucian himself appeared, cloaked in darkness. His figure exuded an aura of menace. His piercing eyes locked onto Aurora, and his lips twisted into a cruel smile. "So, the princess has finally come to meet her end," he sneered. "Do you really think that little gem of yours can stop me?" Aurora stepped forward, her voice firm. "This isn't just about the gem. It's about Floria. I won't let you destroy it." Lucian laughed, a sound that echoed like a thunderclap. "Your kingdom is already mine, Aurora. You're too late." With a flick of his hand, he summoned a wave of shadowy minions. They surged toward Aurora and Iris, their glowing red eyes fixed on the gem. Aurora raised the radiant gem, and its light flared, pushing the shadows back. The battle began in earnest. Aurora wielded the gem's power, its light slicing through the darkness. Iris supported her, using her own floral magic to hold the minions at bay. But the onslaught was relentless, and for every shadow they defeated, more rose to take its place. Lucian watched from a distance, his expression cold and calculating. "You fight well, Princess," he called out. "But you cannot win. The darkness will consume everything, even you." Aurora felt the weight of his words, but she refused to falter. "I won't give in to fear," she shouted back. "You'll never break me." As the battle raged, Aurora realized that the power of the gem alone wouldn't be enough to defeat Lucian. She would need to face him directly, to challenge the source of his power. She glanced at Iris, who nodded in silent agreement. "This is only the beginning," Aurora said, her eyes burning with determination. "We will end this." With the path to Lucian's fortress now clear, Aurora and Iris pushed forward, ready to confront the darkness head-on. Aurora and Iris entered Lucian's fortress, a chilling labyrinth of shadowy corridors and oppressive darkness. The air was thick with malice, and every step seemed to echo with despair. At the heart of the fortress, Lucian awaited them, his throne bathed in the eerie glow of the Black Moonflower, now in full bloom. "You've come far, Princess," Lucian said, his voice cold and mocking. "But this is where your journey ends." Aurora stepped forward, the radiant gem glowing brightly in her hands. "This ends here, Lucian. I won't let you destroy Floria." Lucian rose from his throne, his dark aura swirling around him like a storm. "Floria was lost the moment your mother sacrificed herself for a kingdom that abandoned me. Do you think you'll fare any better?" He raised his hand, and shadows erupted from the floor, forming into monstrous shapes that lunged toward Aurora and Iris. The battle was fierce, with Aurora using the gem's light to fend off the shadows while Iris supported her with bursts of floral magic. Despite their efforts, Lucian's power seemed limitless, and the shadows grew stronger with each passing moment. "You cannot defeat me," Lucian sneered, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The darkness is eternal." Aurora's heart wavered, but then she remembered her mother's sacrifice, the trust of her people, and the strength she had gained through her journey. She gripped the gem tightly, feeling its warmth spread through her. "No," she said firmly, her voice steady. "Darkness only prevails when there's no one left to fight it. I will fight." With a surge of determination, she channeled all her energy into the gem. Its light flared brilliantly, forcing the shadows to retreat. Lucian staggered, momentarily stunned by the intensity of the light. But the Black Moonflower pulsed, feeding Lucian with renewed power. He struck back with a wave of darkness, and Aurora was thrown to the ground, the gem slipping from her grasp. Iris cried out, rushing to her side. "Aurora, you can't give up now," Iris urged. Aurora looked at the gem, its light dimming as her strength waned. Then, she realized what had to be done. The gem's true power lay in sacrifice, not just of courage, but of herself. "Iris," she said softly, "protect Floria. You must carry on if I don't make it." Before Iris could protest, Aurora seized the gem and stood, facing Lucian. She poured every ounce of her life force into it. The gem burned with blinding light, brighter than the sun, and Aurora directed its power at Lucian. "No!" Lucian roared as the light engulfed him. The Black Moonflower withered, its petals turning to ash, and the darkness dissipated. The fortress trembled, cracks forming in its walls as the shadows were banished. As the light faded, Aurora collapsed, the gem falling lifelessly beside her. Iris rushed to her side, tears streaming down her face. "Aurora, no!" The fortress began to crumble, But the darkness was gone. Aurora's sacrifice had saved Floria. As the last remnants of Lucian's fortress crumbled into dust, the sun broke through the clouds, its golden rays bathing Floria in warmth for the first time in weeks. The oppressive darkness that had gripped the land was gone, and the once fading flowers began to bloom again, their vibrant colors returning with the light. Iris carried Aurora's lifeless body out of the ruins, her heart heavy with grief. Around her, the spirits of the flowers emerged, their faces a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. Aurora's sacrifice had saved them all, and they gathered to honor her bravery. In the heart of Floria, the radiant gem, now dim and cracked, began to glow faintly once more. It pulsed with a soft light, and the flowers around it swayed as if in reverence. Suddenly, the gem released a radiant burst of energy, and Aurora's body shimmered with the same golden light. "Aurora," Iris whispered, hope flickering in her heart. The light enveloped Aurora, lifting her gently into the air. Her silver hair glowed like moonlight, and when the light faded, she opened her eyes, weak but alive. She looked around at the smiling faces of her people. "I'm alive?" Aurora asked, her voice soft and filled with wonder. "Yes," Iris said, tears streaming down her face. "The gem brought you back. Floria still needs you." Aurora stood, her legs trembling, but her resolve stronger than ever. She gazed at the rejuvenated kingdom, now teeming with life and color. The sunbeam flowers glistened, the rivers sparkled, and the skies were clear. Floria had been restored. "I couldn't have done this alone," Aurora said, addressing her people. "It was your hope, your courage, and your love that gave me the strength to fight. Together, we defeated the darkness." The flower spirits cheered, their voices echoing across the kingdom. Aurora's sacrifice and revival had united them all, and Floria was stronger than ever. As she returned to the Crystal Blossom Palace, Aurora placed the radiant gem on the altar, its glow a reminder of their hard-won victory. Though she had faced great loss and immense trials, she knew that the light within her people would always prevail. Standing on the balcony, overlooking the kingdom she had fought so hard to protect, Aurora smiled. The Black Moonflower had been defeated, and Floria had a future brighter than ever. With her people by her side, she was ready to guide them into a new era of peace and harmony.